Hello guys, and welcome again to another video tutorial by Mr. Malaji TE. In today's video, I want to show you how you can process adjusting journal entries on Pastel. So for the purposes of this video, I don't want it to be long, so we'll just deal with bullet number 1 and bullet number 2, and another video that will be done will be focused on bullet number 4 and bullet number 3 and bullet number 4. So now we'll be dealing with cleaning materials, and this one for motor vehicle, and the next one will be focused on this two. So that means we'll process first these two transactions, and process their adjusting journal entries, which is the cleaning materials on hand and the motor vehicles depreciation. So let's go ahead and process our transactions before we can get to adjusting journal entries. Let's go ahead and process our transactions. So we'll start with a transaction. We'll start with a transaction for cleaning materials. So we'll go to process. So before we can process, we have to keep in mind that in Pastel there are terms that will be that are necessary for you to know. Terms like paid and bought, received. So if you are told that you paid, you have to process that transaction in a cash book. And if you are told that you bought, you were not specified, it was not specified that you paid in cash or what. So you have to process that in a supplier journal. So let's go ahead and process our cleaning materials in a cash book, which were paid for on 1 May 2017 for 2,000. So let's go ahead and process that in Pastel. So we'll go to process cash book. And since it's a payment, we process it in the payment side. So we were told that you have to ignore VAT unless otherwise stated. So it wasn't stated on the cleaning materials, so we will just ignore it, and you can just, so we'll go to period. Our period is May, so we'll go to May. Here it's May, then we hit tab, and on GCS we know that it's a general ledger account, customer account, supplier account, and cleaning materials it's a general ledger account. So we hit tab, account, we search for cleaning materials, which we search by description there. So we have cleaning. Reference, you can just keep it because we are not given description. You can search for description to be a payment, right? Then select, or you can just leave it. So on text, I will leave it on 0, the text type 0, because there won't be any influence of VAT if you just leave it at 0 like that. Unlike if you select VAT and this number 1, VAT standard rated 14%. So if I leave it on 0, I ignore text, in other words. So I can just move on. Then on bank inclusive is 2,000. So you can see that on bank exclusive is 2,000. That shows that there was no influence of VAT. But if I did I did select VAT standard rated, you will see that my bank exclusive would be influence of VAT. So I will leave it on 0 and then update. I will now go to my supplier journal for the second transaction. The second transaction, we were told that we bought a new motor vehicle at 199,500, and it is inclusive of VAT from McCarthy Toyota on 1 December 2017. So I will go and process my supplier journal. So I'll go to process journals, and then I will process a supplier journal. So on supplier journal, we were told that the motor vehicle purchased were inclusive of VAT, right? So we'll just go to settings and click text processing. On period, it's December 2017, and our account is McCarthy. So we can see that there is no McCarthy Toyota here, so we have to click on F6 and add that supplier. Then we don't have the code. We were not given the code. We will use standard coding, which is the first 3 letters followed by 001. On description is the name of that supplier, which is McCarthy Toyota. Then you save. Then you can just close this screen. Then you select that supplier and then tap on reference. You can just leave it because you are not given a reference. Description, you can just leave it. On text, you have to click VAT standard rated because we were told that it is inclusive of VAT. Then the amount is 199,500. Then on D and C is debit and credit. You know that when you process journals, there will be one account that is debited and there will be the other that is credited. So in this case, we bought a motor vehicle from a supplier. Therefore, we'll debit a payable, we'll credit a payable and debit a motor vehicle asset. Then, since we started with a payable here, we'll leave it on C, and then the contra account will be motor vehicle. Then we can update. So now we are set to process our adjusting journal entries for those 2 transactions. So on adjusting journal entries, we are told that cleaning materials on hand amounted to 600, and then the motor vehicles are depreciated over 5 years on straight line method. The new motor vehicle is expected to be used for 5 years, after which it could be sold for 50,000. So we'll go and process our first adjusting journal entry, which is the cleaning materials on hand. So let's go to Pastel and adjusting journal entries. You have to keep in mind that the adjusting journal entries are processed in the general journal. So we'll go to general journal. And we'll have, remember, we will process on the last day of the period now, because the stock on hand is at the end of the year. And the account, you can start with a cleaning materials on hand or the cleaning materials expense. And in this case, we'll start with cleaning materials expense. Since I started with cleaning materials expense here, the reference and description you can just leave it. We were not given that. So on debit and credit, since I started with an expense, I will go to credit, because remember the cleaning materials on hand, we'll have to debit cleaning materials on hand and then credit cleaning materials expense, right? So since I started with the cleaning materials expense, I'll go to credit 600. Then the contra account will be cleaning materials on hand. So if you search for cleaning materials on hand here, we can see that we don't have cleaning materials on hand. Then we have to create one. So we'll go to add the account number. Since you were not given the account number, you can create one yourself. Then the main account number, I will just come up with any, so I'll just say 7.8. Then the account description is cleaning materials on hand. Then it's a balance sheet. Remember, when creating a main account, you have to allocate it, right? So it's a balance sheet account because it's an asset. Then you have to allocate it there to other current assets because they will be used up in the next 12 months. Then you can just save now. Thereafter close. Then you will select that account cleaning materials on hand because it's the amount, is the account debited when we credit that expense. Then tab, then you can update. Then our next transaction, adjusting entry, is we are told that the motor vehicles are depreciated over 5 years on straight line method. The new motor vehicles is expected to be used for 5 years, after which it could be sold for 50,000. So 50,000 is our residual value, 5 years is our useful life, and the method is straight line. So we'll go to, we'll have to process the depreciations for the current year from the beginning of the year. So we'll process that in the general journal. Someone would argue that the depreciation are recorded in the depreciation journal. Yes, is correct, but in the depreciation journal we just record the accumulated depreciations and not the depreciation. But the depreciation are recorded in the general journal. The depreciation for the current year we record in the general journal. Then we'll have to calculate our depreciations from the beginning of the year, which is May. You don't go to settings and click text processing because we were not told anything about VAT there. So you can, we'll just view. Before we can process, we have to view our balances for the old vehicle and the new vehicle, right? So we'll go to view, general journal, general ledger, financial reports, and then we view our trial balance. Then we want to view for this year, you untick print 0 items, then okay. Therefore here is our trial balance. For last year we have a balance of 150,000, and currently we have 325,000 for motor vehicles, right? So that means we bought vehicles that worth 175,000 for this year, and the last year's balance was 150,000. So we can close and calculate the depreciation using Excel. So we'll go to Excel. Blank workbook. Then on Excel, remember we have the amounts for the new vehicle. We have 175,000 for the new vehicle. Then we have a residual value of 50,000. We have useful life of 5. Yes. We have it has been in the business. The motor vehicle has been in the business from 1 December 2017. Alright, so you can see that we have 175 there, 175,000, but here it's 199,500. This is because we have excluded VAT on the 175,000. So I hope you get that point. Then we'll calculate our months from 1 December 2017 until the year end, which is April, right? So it's December, January, February, March, April, May. December, January, February, March, April, which is 5 months. So we can now go and calculate so it's been in the business for 5 months. And there is 12 months in a year. And the old vehicle is 150,000. Therefore I can use the function, since I was told that the motor vehicles are depreciated using a straight line method. So I'll go to function and select SLN. Here's the SLN. You can read there, it tells us it retains the straight line depreciation on an asset for 1 period, right? So we'll just click on OK for SLN. Then the cost for the new vehicle, remember we have 175,000. Our salvage is 50,000. Our cost is this column here, so we'll use cell references. So we'll go to cell A2. It's our cost. Then our salvage, it's this 50,000. Our useful life is 5 years. Then okay. Then this 25,000 is the depreciation for the year. And on Pastel we record depreciation monthly. So we'll calculate a monthly depreciation for this new vehicle. So we'll go to the old vehicle now and calculate its yearly depreciation using a function as well. So we'll use our SLN. Our cost is 150 and we don't have the salvage. Our useful life, it's 5 years. Okay. Then for the new vehicle we have the 30,000. Then we'll calculate depreciation monthly for the new vehicle. We can just click here and search for the calculator. We will take that 25,000, divide by 12. Then we have 2,083.33 as our monthly depreciation. So we can just type it there, 2083.33. Then on the new vehicle, we can, it's 30,000 divide, it's 30,000 divided by 12 is the 2.5, right? So on the old vehicle, monthly depreciation is 2.5. Then we are done with calculating our depreciations. We can now go back to Pastel and process those depreciations. So starting from May, we only have the old vehicle, so that means we'll just process depreciation that is at 2.5 and not the 2083. So we'll calculate 2.5 and we'll not add that depreciation, because this depreciation will add it from the December month, because the new vehicle was bought during December. So we'll go there, and for May, date, okay, on account, you have to search for the depreciation account. For convenience's purposes, we can set, because we'll do this depreciation for 12 months, right? So we can just go there and set our contra account, and our contra account will be the accumulated depreciation, motor vehicles accumulated depreciation. Then we can close. For on account, we have to select depreciation, and here's depreciation. Remember, it's depreciation and it's accumulated depreciation. So you know that in accounting, when you process the depreciation or when you record the depreciation, you have to debit depreciation expense, credit accumulated depreciation. So on account you have depreciation, on the contra account is the accumulated depreciation, so it's debit and credit. Since we started with depreciation account, we'll record the amounts on debit. So it's 2.5. Then you can use tab, and on period you just type 2. On account you can just search 3450, then 2.5. We will do this until November. Type 3, then it's 3450, debit 2.5. Period 4, 3450, 2.5. Period 5, 3450, 2.5. Our period 9 is January, so it means that on period 8 we made a mistake. Then on period 8 is December, so from December we now have to include the depreciation for new vehicle, because the 2.5 is just depreciation for the old vehicle. So during December we have to include this new depreciation. So we'll take depreciation for new vehicle and add it to depreciation for the old vehicle. So it will be 2.8 plus the 2.5. So this will be our depreciation from the month December until the year end. So you can close the calculator. Then our amount from period 8, which is December, will be 4583.33, and again for January 4583.33, February 3450, 4583. Then for our period 11, which is March, it will be 4583. Then our period 12, which is our last period, April, 3450, 4583. Then after, we can just update this journal batch. Then we are now done with those two transactions. Then tune in for our next, in my next tutorial video. We'll be dealing with transactions of the transaction for rent expense and the water and electricity. Then we'll do another video thereof where we'll be dealing with how to create budgets. So just subscribe to my YouTube channel, and so that you'll be, and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I upload another video based on Pastel.